My name is Rick Wagstaff. I'm a retired City of Sacramento fire captain. And I met David in 1995 at this Stockton club when I came down for Wednesday night bocce. And over a period of time we became friends, and a little later I'll explain the bocce end of it. But right now I'd like to say something about David. He's past president of this club, man of the year. He belongs to so many different organizations that people don't know about. And he's in treasurer, I think, in all of them. He probably even belongs to some out of state. And anyway, he runs the Wednesday night bocce leagues, keeps all the points up to date and everything. He runs the Tuesday night bocce league. He has a ham and turkey and club tournaments that he runs. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame for bocce in 2002, and recently was inducted into the Hall of Fame for wrestling as a coach. He's a farmer. He's one of the hardest working guys I know. He takes care of the facilities here and the grounds countless hours, and then he goes home and does it, and then he does this treasure work for all these organizations. I just can't figure out how he does it, you know. And anyway, him and I played in the our first national tournament in Martinez in 1996, and won the gold medal in the brass balls, the hardest of all the games. And we've played on and off over the years and in most of the nationals. And in 2002, we played in the United States Championships in Los Gatos, California. And we won the gold medal in all three divisions. He won in all three divisions, and we won in two. But we were on each other's teams. He played with Ron Jacobs and won the gold medal in the brass balls. And that's how he got our third gold medal. Well, because we won the Punta Rafa Volo that year, we went to Passo Fundo, Brazil, and played in the World Championships. And him and I, the most memorable thing about that is him and I were playing the Brazilians' #1 team, who were favored to win the World Championships. And the Brazilians had us down 12-5. And the stadium was empty, I noticed, and that's because they figured America's just, you know, going to get cleaned up, you know. So anyway, I turned to David and I says, David, I says, you know what? I says, we're going to win this thing. We're going to start pecking away like a little banty rooster, a point or two at a time. We're going to come back and win this thing. And we did, and we both played beautifully. And I noticed as we were catching up to the Brazilians that the stadium was filling. And when it got around 12-12, the stadium was packed, and we went on to beat the Brazilians 15-12, and nobody could believe it. And then the Brazilians started coming down out of the stands. And I started getting a little bit scared because the Brazilians have a lot of passion, and they don't like to lose. And I thought something serious was going to happen to us. But they came down and they were giving us hugs, and they said that you guys are the best. And I get goosebumps right now just thinking of it, you know. And I'll never forget that moment with David. And we had many, many memorable moments, you know, playing against the Italians in Italy, and different cities and things like that, you know. And when the Italians came to America, we played in Chicago, we played in St. Louis and all over. And when I was in St. Louis in 2005, I got a phone message at the hotel one morning that my mother had passed away. And of course that was pretty difficult. And I was on tour with the Italians and was committed for a couple more days before I went home. But when I got home, to show you what kind of a person Dave is, thinking about all of his friends and everything, he and his wife Judy did this for my mom. And it's the Don Bosco Sacred Heart Association, where they're an everlasting gift, you know, of people praying for my mom. You know, we're both devout Catholics, and I'm telling you, this really touched me. He just seems to know when his friends are in need of something, and he just shows up. You know what I mean? And he never asks anything in return. He's one of the most humble guys I know.
Hello, I'm Janice Canclini Wagner. I'm the sister of Dave Canclini, who I'm very proud of, and his accomplishments. David and I came from a wonderful family. We are first generation Italian Americans on Daddy's side, and we are second generation Italian Americans on Mother's side. We grew up with all the wonderful traditions and the culture of the Italians, and we cherish those customs. And he's been very active with the Italian clubs and functions, and he's given tirelessly of time and effort. I know he loves it, and I'm sure he's appreciated, and I'm sure he's respected for that. I am so proud of my brother, and I love him very much, and I'm sure that people appreciate him. David is my little brother, and he was always the little brother that would come in your room and mess things up, and I'd say, "Get him out of here, Mother." David was always a little rambunctious child. I know we'd go to church and he just couldn't sit still. He had to tap his foot or something. He's just very energetic. He can't sit still. He's always working or moving. My brother is very precious to me. We're really the only two siblings. It's just him and I, and our parents are gone. And like we were talking about, a near accident with David, I just couldn't bear to lose him. He's just always a rock. David is always there for you. Whenever you need him, you can give him a call.
Hi, I'm Ralph Luchetti. I've known David Canclini for about 10 years at least, I think. We served together on the Italian school board and also on the Liguri Nel Mondo board for many years. David is a great guy. He has, I think, some unique talents that maybe a lot of us don't appreciate sometimes. One being particularly that he's very computer savvy for his generation and our generation, and has always been very helpful keeping list of the membership and the dues and so forth for both organizations. And the other thing is, I think he's a man that was probably a little ahead of his time, and that the fact that he was the probably original party planner before there ever was such a thing, because I don't think there's anybody around that can plan an event as far as reservations, seating, and all the arrangements to go with it, as well as David does, and he does a great job with that. As far as David, though, one thing I could say is that he's definitely not a yes man. I mean, he has his opinions, and he's always an interesting addition to either of the boards, because he tells you what he thinks, and he always makes it very clear that he has one vote. And if the rest of the board feels differently or whatever, or there's different opinions, that's, you know, you let the votes count the way they fall, or fall the way they whatever. And no, I think he always brings a different perspective to the board, where sometimes we don't think of, or the rest of the board maybe doesn't think of a certain aspect or something that he will bring out. And so it's always found it to be helpful.
My name is Vernon Cooper, and I met Dave Canclini playing bocce. I met him several years ago. He was a player that was way above my abilities, so I finally got up to where I could play at his ability. So that's pretty much how we met. He was the Western Sector President of the United States Bocce Federation when I met him, and he kind of, in a way, he influenced me into becoming the Western Sector President. So, which I did. I never forgave him for not telling me it wasn't a 4-year term, but he didn't tell me, and I thought it was 2. But nevertheless, I then I even re-upped for another 2 years. So he's a person that I absolutely listen to for guidance about a lot of things. I got to go to one of his, when he got inducted into the Stockton Athletic Hall of Fame. I got to be there when he was inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's just, the man is so involved in so many things in so many different clubs. It's amazing that he has the time for such a thing. You know, I think he's a great guy. Anyway, and we've got to be really good friends. Him and his wife and my wife and I, before I was president, and he would get people in. I mean, he would just draw people in. He has a really good way of talking to people and just getting them involved in the USBF, because he's a USBF promoter, big time. So absolutely, David is a teacher. He was a teacher. He retired as a teacher, and David is a teacher at everything he does. He just can't help himself, and that's the way it is. Everybody that knows him accepts that. You either accept that or you don't, and he's good at that. I ask him about everything because he's been involved forever. I've been involved since 2004, and he's been involved. He's played in world championships. He's played in North American championships. He's won national championships over and over. In 2011, I put together a team that was pretty good, and David had a good team, and we finally met in the playoffs to play for the national championship, and we beat him. So that was a big deal to me, you know. And David is so gracious, because he was so happy for us, because he had won national championships before. He had gold medals in the national championships, and we didn't. We were new, you know. We were new, but we were pretty good.
My name is Bruce Gill, and I met David in college in the early 60s, and we've been friends ever since. I think this is a great award for him. I think that he really deserves this award because, as everybody knows, he's involved in all the Italian clubs, the Bocce, the Italian School, Lagodi nel Mondo, and other clubs, and a lot of clubs that are not Italian related he's involved with. And all these various organizations have had him as a president, secretary, all the various offices, and including, you know, directorships. I know currently he's on a board with me at the Waterloo Gun and Bocce Club, and he's been there a long, long time. I've only been there a short time, but he's involved with leadership in all these organizations over the years. But then he's also been involved in setting up the tables, taking them down, and all the little B work that goes on to make a function go good. And I think that's, you know, he's a well-rounded individual. He's just not on there at the officer level. He's at the work level. And I think it's good that he gets this award. I'm happy for him. We went to Sacramento State, and we lived in the dorm up there, and he was at one end, I was at the other end, and he was a gym major or something like that, so, you know, that's an easy course. I was a business major. It was tougher, you know. So being a good student, yeah, we didn't get in trouble or anything, but, you know, as far as grades, that's another subject, and those probably weren't so good. And David and I hunt and fish together and so forth. He's, like I said, he's active in other clubs, that the Salinas Duck Club and different ones, Stockton Sportsman. He's done a ton of work for them over the years. You know, I think bocce is fun, and I don't take it serious. I mean, guys at his caliber are very serious, and they don't want people like me that are not going to get serious. And so we don't play bocce at all. And but we're still friends.
Hi, I'm Don Garibaldi, and Dave Canclini is my friend. I can't think of anybody who is more deserving of the Luke Award than Dave. I met Dave many years ago when he was a coach, and he coached wrestling in high school. But I really didn't have too much contact with him until I got into the board of directors at the Liga di Mondo with Dave. And I served as his vice president for 2 terms. Also, I served on the board of directors. Also, I served with him on the committee for the scholarships. You got to see Dave when he shows up at the hall, before dinners. He usually gets there about an hour ahead of time, and he's got his coat and tie on, and very proper until he starts moving tables around and moving chairs. He's got a list of all the people sitting at the tables. He's got the late reservations and all kinds of stuff going on. And he's moving real fast. You don't want to get in his way. In fact, if you were to tie a feather duster on his behind, he could dust the whole hall while he's doing that. Dave belongs to other groups and other organizations, and I don't know how he does it because he's active in all of them. Dave maintains a database for Liga di Mondo, and through the database, that's how he does all of the mailings, he does all of the correspondence, all of the seating, and he puts a lot of hours in, gratis. And through the database, he's able to take care of all of the dues, he takes care of all of the seating, he takes care of everything as far as correspondence with other clubs. In fact, he even corresponds with our mother club in Genova, Italy. And he's done all this from the time that he went in there. Back a couple of years ago, I had a lady who was on the board tell me, you know, Dave thinks he knows everything. He doesn't listen to anybody, he wants to do things his way. And I got to thinking about it, and I said, well, you know, that's because 99% of the time Dave is right. He gives a lot of thought to his decisions. God bless you, Dave. You're the greatest.
Hello, I'm Judy Canclini. I'm David's wife. I've been married to this busy beaver for almost 50 years. It was funny because David was out with some of his Italian friends and they were at Waterloo gunning bocce, and so they were rolling balls and having fun, and Mario Simonetti said to him, I believe it was Mario, you know what, you and your friends need to take 2 weeks off and then don't come back. So that did it. He was determined then that he was going to come back. Well, this busy beaver that I am married to, I know you've heard the saying, hard-headed Italians. Well, on the morning of April the 8th, 2011, we were very grateful for his hard head, because that's when this accident in the orchard took place. One morning, as I entered the house and he was on his way out, I reminded him he was going to disc in the orchard, and I asked him if he had his phone. He said that he did, and so he went off to disc in our orchard. The phone rang and I was talking with my friends, and all of a sudden the operator interrupted and said that she had an emergency call for me, that there had been an accident in the orchard, and could I please come to the back of the orchard. So I called my children and had them meet me there, and as I rounded the corner by Cesar Chavez High School, there were 3 fire engines, 4 police cars, a couple of ambulances, and as I got there they were bringing the stretcher out with David on it, and he was talking, and the paramedic said that was a good thing, blood, covered in blood. And he's telling them, no, I think I should go to St. Joseph's Hospital. And so they said, sir, you have a big gash in your head and we need to get you to a trauma center. And all of a sudden I hear this helicopter, and it lands on the Cesar Chavez football field. They take David away. He stayed a couple of days in the hospital, and my children that night went home and wanted to see where everything had transpired. And when they got there, the tractor was up against the tree. It had stopped finally. And there on David's shirt was our dog waiting for his master to come home. So we have been very, very blessed. And we thank God every day for our blessings. He's always busy doing things. And we would like to thank the PIA for giving him this honor. David is very involved and wants to share his enthusiasm and his love for his Italian heritage with almost everybody he meets. So once again, we'd like to say thank you to the Pacific Italian Alliance.